Yo, what's going on, people? It's your boy Huncho, back at you again with another video. And so for this next one, we've got to head over to Virginia Water, which is located in Surrey. And although this story does take place in March of 2019, we have to go back even further to August of 2018 to get the origins of this story. So it's around 3:30 AM on the 16th of August 2019, and 21-year-old Gary Haffenden had left work after doing a night shift and was driving near to Thistle Hill roundabout on the Isle of Sheppey in a Toyota. He claims he was tired from work and so fell asleep behind the wheel when out of nowhere crashed head-on with a Skoda Fabia. It's believed that next he jumps out of his vehicle, asks the victim, building surveyor Graham Nichols, if he's okay before sprinting away from the scene. But if you didn't guess it by now, Graham wasn't okay by any means and had to spend 5 weeks in hospital after breaking both legs and knees, and one of the bones in his left hand had pierced through his skin and was left hanging out. When emergency services arrived at the scene, Graham had to be cut out of his vehicle and was then rushed to hospital, where again he stayed there for 5 weeks and underwent multiple surgeries. Only 3 years away from retirement, Graham was forced to take an early leave from work and can now only walk up to half a mile with a crutch as an aid after being left with life-changing injuries. Following the hit and run, Gary handed himself into police the next morning, and although he did say he fell asleep at the wheel, his vehicle was found to have contained canisters of nitrous oxide that were scattered around all over the floor, and there was also a packet of yellow latex balloons. But although he had been bailed over this situation, he was about to be in an all too familiar situation, but this time it would prove fatal for the victim. So we now have to fast forward to the 17th of March 2019, and Syed Zaidi, a restaurant owner, receives a call saying that a delivery driver was having problems with their car, and so he decided to do the delivery himself before going home. He was delivering the last lot of food to a house on Raisby Road in Virginia Water, Surrey. Around the same time as this was happening, Gary is picked up on CCTV at a petrol station forecourt inhaling a latex balloon, which he would go on to claim was just oxygen. Syed had been with his 1-year-old and 3-year-old child along with his wife at the time of making this delivery, and all we know from what happened next from his wife, who had witnessed what had happened, she would go on to say, quote, "I was sitting in the car with the children and then I saw him look right on the road, then out of nowhere," she goes on to say that she saw a flash before seeing her husband disappear right in front of her eyes. That's right, Gary, whilst out on bail for causing someone life-changing injuries, was involved in a similar incident, but this time it would prove fatal for Syed, as he would go on to die at the scene. Gary had been going 67 miles per hour in a 40 miles per hour zone, but when he later handed himself into police, he claimed that a pedestrian had stumbled out in front of his car. This time, the truck that he was driving that had hit Syed was found to have had 17 empty nitrous oxide canisters scattered all over the floor, which is all too familiar to the first time as well. Gary would go on to be arrested after handing himself in and was charged with causing death by careless driving, causing death while uninsured, and failing to stop, as well as the previous offence of causing serious injury by dangerous driving. To all of these charges, he would go on to plead guilty. At the sentencing hearing, it was heard that Gary had broke down in tears after he heard the testimony from Syed's wife, Afshin. She had told the court of how she will now have to bring her small children up without their father, and they'll never meet him as they grow. Talking of the aftermath of the crash in court, she said, quote, "I saw my husband upside down. Blood was coming out of his mouth. I cannot explain. It was horrible. The worst day of my life. It all happened in the blink of an eye." In court, it was said that Gary showed genuine remorse for this situation, and then he was handed a 3-year jail sentence and was disqualified from driving for 4.5 years, which means if Gary doesn't have years added on at the Court of Appeal, then he'll be a free man within 18 months. And so I think what shocked me most about this case isn't the sentence, unfortunately. It's actually the judge sentencing Gary on the basis that he wasn't taking balloons at the time of impact, when I know a lot of you are going to be thinking that that is more than likely the case, given the facts that we were given from reports. But what we do have to remember is that the judge in the case would have had a lot more evidence, so maybe there's something that we don't know. But again, from reports, a lot of you are probably saying, whoa, it does kind of look like that was more than likely the case. We took a look at another case back in September of 2020 where a 21-year-old man had been jailed to 4 years for killing a 13-year-old boy under similar circumstances, again in regards to causing death by dangerous driving. And now we had a conversation about the laws being changed, because realistically, in my opinion, I think, well, what's the difference between causing death by dangerous driving and manslaughter? If you kill someone via a vehicle, but it's understood that it was murder, you get charged for murder, not causing death by dangerous driving. So for me personally, I think that it should be changed to manslaughter charges. A lot of the time people do get more years added on at the Court of Appeal. For example, in that case, the 21-year-old, I believe, had been given an extra 1 year on his sentence. But what we really have to understand is, a lot of the time in cases like this, people are out of jail within 5 years or so, and it's really crazy to think about that you can go ahead and take someone's life away, come out within 5 years, but then people who have done lesser crimes in the sense of they haven't killed someone are getting jailed for longer than that. And to me, that just doesn't really make sense. But that is the UK justice system for you. But I do want to take this time out just to say rest in peace to Syed. Of course, he's left 2 very young children behind and a widow that now has to bring these 2 children up by herself. So again, I do want to send my condolences over to his family and friends. But let me know what you guys think of this down in the comment section below. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.